Welcome back to our friends on DAZN, here on DAZN Transfer, again, ready for this special week. Remember, every day together to update you on all the transfer latest, all the breaking news we will have also during our live show, so get ready for all the latest. Today, many things to mention, from legendary players like Luka Modric, future signings like Álvaro Carreras, and much more in Spain, in England, like Manchester City, very busy on the market. Managers in Italy, Cesc Fabregas is the target for Inter, but let's see what happens there. This and much more here together with me, Nacho Gonzalez. Ciao, Nacho.
Hi, Fabrizio. Pleasure to be with you again today. Have you slept well this night?
I did, always with some messages on my phone, like now, but I did.
And I know that you have the latest news on your phone, and it involves a striker.
Big striker.
Yeah.
I wanted to start
a lot
with
of rumors around.
Yeah, I wanted to start with that one because it's just arrived a few seconds before starting our live, and it's about a formal proposal arrived from Al Hilal, one of the most ambitious clubs in this moment in Saudi, trying to reach an agreement with Victor Osimhen on personal terms. So contract proposal sent, and Simone Inzaghi, who signed this contract today in Paris, he's returning in Milan right now from Paris after signing the contract with Al Hilal, who is also involved in this discussion, trying to speak to the player too. So they're pushing to have Victor Osimhen as their striker at the Club World Cup. And so one of many stories we will cover in the next hours, minutes, and also days.
We will keep you guys updated with everything that Fabrizio gets through his phone. But firstly, I want to talk about Fabrizio, Man City, because they're going to be one of the most active teams in this transfer market, and you have some news to get to us.
Yeah, get ready to Man City fans because they are very busy on the market, and today was quite a busy day for Manchester City. Early morning we had the here we go of Tijani Reinders, so the deal is done for Tijani Reinders to be the new midfielder for Pep Guardiola from AC Milan. An agreement reached in the morning. Yesterday we said here that they were already very close to completing the agreement. Now it's done for something around 58 million euros fixed fee plus add-ons up to 65-70 million euros based on easy and difficult add-ons, so all done also with the player. Just waiting now on the medical test. A fantastic addition for Man City because Reinders did very well for Milan this season despite a complicated year for the Rossoneri.
Is it a player, Fabrizio, that is seen by Man City like a Gundogan replacement, like a De Bruyne replacement? Because I know he can drop deep, but he's not the Rodrigo type of player.
No.
He's more like a organizer,
more offensive and more number 8, let's say. So I think it's a similar Gundogan, a future Gundogan in the idea of Manchester City, as you mentioned. So that's the vision, that's the view. He's also a player who can score goals, provide assists. It's what he did for AC Milan in a complicated season. So I think he's a very interesting addition, especially for this price. In the position of Kevin De Bruyne, the target remains Ryan Cherki, and the update today on this French great talent, Ryan Cherki, is that Manchester City have an agreement in place with the player. So this morning there was a call between all parties involved, and Ryan Cherki said yes to Manchester City contract, salary, and project. So it's all set with the player. I expect Man City to send an official bid to Olympique Lyon in the next days or maybe hours. We will see, to try reach an agreement club to club. And so Man City are working also on this one, and then on fullbacks, because Man City want to add at least one fullback for the Club World Cup. Ait Nouri, left back from Wolves, is the player they want. Very good relationship with the player agents, so I think personal terms will not be an issue. The player is keen on the move. Now let's see how long it takes to negotiate with Wolverhampton, but also you remember they already did the deal for Mateus Nunes in the past, so they have very good relationship, and this is going to be an interesting one. On the right, Tino Livramento is the desired target from Newcastle, but in this case with Newcastle playing Champions League football, it's not going to be so easy.
So I guess the less likely signing from all of these future transfers is Tino Livramento, right?
At the moment, yes. At the moment, this is the most complicated. Then let's see the timing. Maybe some of them will join already for the Club World Cup like Reinders. Maybe for the others could take more time. But I'm sure Man City will try to reinforce all these positions during the whole summer. And to enter into all the details of Manchester City ambitions for the summer, but especially for the Club World Cup, we have with us Leon Loftus, our reporter for the Club World Cup. He will be there giving us all the latest.
Thank you very much, Fabrizio. Right, Man City, where should we start? They're looking to carry on the good business they got done in January. They're being decisive, they're being quick, and the chairman said he wants a lot of the business done before the Club World Cup, so that is what we're going to get. Let's start with Tijani Reinders. The 26-year-old Dutchman is an all-phases type of player. And what I mean by that is he's equally comfortable picking up the ball from the goalkeeper, progressing it through the midfield, and with 15 goals scored in all competitions, he knows where the net is. Think Gundogan, he's great off the ball, he's got an engine on him, quick passing, he will be an asset. Next up, let's look at Ryan Cherki now. He is a creative monster. Passes the eye test 1,000 times over. 32 goal contributions across all competitions this season. Now, for Lyon, he's predominantly played on the right wing, but he can play anywhere across that middle line, which will be absolutely pivotal for Man City in the way they use almost positionless football. Next up, has Man City's search for left back finally concluded? Rayan Aït-Nouri from Wolves. Now, he is only 23 years old, has played over 100 games in the Premier League, and last season he had 7 assists in the Premier League, only topped by one other defender. Could he be the man for the job? Thank you very much, guys. Back to you in the studio.
And thank you, Liam, for these informations, for all the latest. We see a really ambitious Manchester City, no? And I think we can see now the potential starting 11, the lineup for the Club World Cup and the ambitions they have this summer.
Well, it's a starting 11 that Pep Guardiola is dreaming of, but as we said, seeing Tino Livramento in the right back is less likely. It would take a huge amount of money to drag him out of Newcastle. But if we look at the midfield, for example, then we have Rodri as the holding midfielder, which is the best in this position, and Reinders alongside him, which is an addition that I like a lot because, as we said before, he's a player that can play on the ball and off the ball the way that suits best for Rodrigo. And we see as well in the attacking line that Haaland and Marmoush has been a huge addition for Man City, that Cherki would be alongside them on the right side, which means that Foden will be dropped to the bench again. And Fabrizio,
let's see.
If we look at the bench, we don't see Jack Grealish. What is going on?
There is a player missing. There is a big name missing, like Jack Grealish, yes, because an information today coming from England we can confirm is that the current plan internally in Manchester City is not to bring Jack Grealish with the squad at the Club World Cup. What it means? It means that Grealish is available on the market. If you remember already for the final games of the season, he was not part of the squad for Pep Guardiola. Then he was saying it was just about selection. Pep was complaining a bit about this big squad Manchester City have, maybe too many players at the end of the season. Jack Grealish could be one of them, of those who will be leaving the club in the summer transfer window. So they are prepared to listen to proposals. There is already some interest from Premier League. So let's see also the pricing. Obviously, Man City spent big money to sign Jack Grealish a few years ago from Aston Villa. So let's see now what's going to happen in terms of valuation of the player. But they expect Jack Grealish not to be part of the squad and to be part of the transfer window.
Let's talk also about the goalkeeper situation in Man City, because we know that Ederson has been a huge legend for Man City, a valuable asset for Guardiola, but we are talking maybe now about the end of an era in the goalposts, and that would mean that it may be the time for looking for some goalkeeper in the market. I don't know, an Italian one, a Portuguese one. I'm just giving ideas.
Yeah, there are two options. There are two options, and the two options we have on the short list they have at Manchester City are Gigio Donnarumma, who is out of contract in 1 year with Paris Saint-Germain. Donnarumma did fantastic in this Champions League, one of the faces of the Paris Saint-Germain squad winning the Champions League. And the other one is Diogo Costa at Porto, a goalkeeper really appreciated by Manchester City. Here we can see a comparison between them, two different goalkeepers in terms of style, but two excellent goalkeepers. Let me clarify, while we see the numbers, that for Man City is really important, of course, before bringing in a goalkeeper, to understand what happens with Ederson. Because as you say, it could be the end of an era, but to be the end of an era, they need a proposal. And at the moment, they have still not received a formal or official bid for Ederson. It's just conversation, it's just talks. So let's follow that situation, because from what I'm hearing at the moment, yes, some interest from Saudi already last summer. You remember he had to leave Man City, but then the deal didn't happen. So we will follow this goalkeeper situation in Manchester City, but I don't think this is going to be one for the Club World Cup, so we have to be patient on that. We don't have to be patient on our Here We Go Metro with all the latest on the signings.
Okay, so as you all know, I'm going to ask Fabrizio for some percentages for some of these transfer rumors that are going around now. And the first one is from a Spanish talent that left a few years ago, Spain, and then he's back at least to Portugal, because I'm going to ask you about Gabri Veiga.
Yes, he's a great talent who joined Ahli a few years ago, but now he's returning to Europe because we have the here we go. For Gabri, Veiga to Porto, they will pay 14 million euros plus add-ons up to 18 million euros final transfer fee. And it's also important to say that the player really wanted this move. He had several possibilities also in other countries, including Italy. But Gabri Veiga decided to go to Porto, really tempted by this opportunity. Tomorrow he will be in Portugal for medical test and contract signing. An excellent addition, I think, in midfield, quality, talented player. And so Gabri Veiga is back in Europe.
Yesterday, Fabrizio, you mentioned the possibility of seeing Modric in the Milan shirt. How is it going?
It's going very well, actually, in terms of verbal conversation. So we still wait for Luka Modric to make a formal, official decision to sign a contract. And, you know, when it's about free agents, it's always about this. Be careful till the very end. But in this case, Luka Modric and AC Milan, from what I'm hearing, especially from club side, they believe at Milan they have a verbal agreement in place with Luka Modric. It's 1 year contract, 2026, 1 year option, 2027. The salary is going to be 3.5 million euros net per season plus add-ons. So the director of Milan yesterday, while we were here talking about the news, was traveling to Croatia to meet with Luka Modric and to offer this contract. So the percentage we give to this deal is 80% because it's verbally almost agreed, but still waiting for Luka Modric to sign all the documents.
High percentages so far.
Yeah, very high today. I'm optimistic.
Let's see now if the percentage is as high as the previous ones with Cesc Fabregas, because I want to talk not only about players but also about managers, and the Como manager is a man desired.
Yeah, he's really wanted after he did a fantastic job. Cesc Fabregas, 10th position in the Serie A table with Como this season. But I don't have a percentage for you. You know why? I have my phone here in my hands every second because there is a meeting ongoing right now in London between Cesc Fabregas and the Inter director Piero Ausilio. As we know, Simone Inzaghi left, new Al Hilal coach, they need a manager, and the first clear choice is Cesc Fabregas. Now Inter need to convince Cesc Fabregas about the project, and it's not just about the financial part, also what they want to do after the fantastic job they did with Inzaghi, but they need to refresh probably the squad, and also about Como, because I can tell you that Como, from what I'm hearing, have still not authorized any formal talk. So there is this meeting, but Como are not so happy about that. So let's see what happens during the night, during the evening, but for sure, Cesc Fabregas is the manager wanted by Inter.
You think Inter have what it takes to convince Fabregas?
They want to try. I think they can have what it takes because they want to make a young squad. Now they have new owners compared to the past, new vision. They want to sign young players. Today, official Petar Sušić from Dinamo Zagreb, 12 million euros, a very good midfielder. Luis Enrique from Olympique Marseille, winger Brazilian, will be the next one for 25 million euros. So they already started investing on young players. This is the direction. Let's see also what Cesc Fabregas decides to do because he's very happy at Como. So that's the point. Will they be able to convince him to leave this project?
We're close to the Bernabeu right now, and we don't have to move a lot of kilometers to talk about Real Madrid. Álvaro Carreras, they need a left back. They're looking to sign Carreras. What's the situation?
The situation is for a deal where I am optimistic too. So my percentage for this Álvaro Carreras Real Madrid deal is still 85% possibility to see this deal happening because there is a conversation ongoing between Real Madrid and Benfica. It's been quite long now because it's almost 10, 12 days that we keep talking about this story. Benfica and Real Madrid are in contact. There is still no agreement club to club, but I can guarantee that Álvaro Carreras is only waiting for Real Madrid, has been clear with Benfica. He wants to go to Real Madrid. So the player has an agreement on the contract and is waiting for the two clubs to reach an agreement. Then I think it's also normal. Benfica want the release clause, 50 million euros. Real Madrid want to negotiate the structure of the clause. They have a good relationship, so they're trying to find a solution together. It's not done tonight, from what I'm hearing, but the feeling of all parties involved is still for Álvaro to be the new left back of Xabi Alonso at Real Madrid.
So it's going to be closed soon, and if we're talking about Real Madrid players, there's a name that may sound familiar to all Madridistas, which is Bellingham, but we're not talking about youth, we're talking about Job.
We are talking about his little brother, who is very talented too, because he did a fantastic season at Sunderland in the Championship and then promoted to the Premier League. A man wanted by several clubs in England, also in Germany with Eintracht Frankfurt, but the club working and advancing on a deal to sign Joe Bellingham is Borussia Dortmund. So my percentage for this one is a 75% for our Here We Go Metro, because they are very confident at Borussia Dortmund to reach an agreement with all parties involved. With Job is already okay. The contract is for 5 years, 3.5 million euros salary plus add-ons. Job said yes. At the beginning, he wanted to talk to several clubs to understand the best project, but then I think when you say Dortmund at Bellingham house, it makes some special feeling. And so he's ready to go. Now depends on Borussia Dortmund if they will be able to agree on a fee with Sunderland, or if they want to pay the release clause. Is there 40 million euros? So I expect this deal to happen.
And I assume that being Jude Bellingham, a former Dortmund player, has been key in this agreement, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. This is something magic for Jude Bellingham. All these players from this generation, Erling Haaland, Jude Bellingham, also Jadon Sancho, all of them love their life at Borussia Dortmund. It's a club really trusts the young players, and so this is the direction also for Jude Bellingham, and I think there are very good possibilities to see this deal happening. To answer some of your questions on more players, as we always have updates, we have our Fabrizio answers ready to reply to your questions.
It's your turn, guys, to ask Fabrizio anything that you want to know about the transfer market. And the first question comes from Jesus Hernan, who asks, is Rashford going to Barca? And what about Luis Diaz? Two questions in one.
Look, they are both options for the winger position at Barcelona. Let me clarify first of all that nothing is imminent. So Barcelona are not closing in on any deal at this point for a winger. They want to take their time. Rashford is a player they already wanted in the January transfer window. Then Ansu Fati was not leaving the club, and so it was not possible for Barca to proceed. Let's see on the conditions of the deal, because at the moment Man United are asking for £40 million to sell Marcus Rashford. Let's see if maybe later in the summer transfer window this price could drop, or maybe could be a loan with option, obligation. So Barca are waiting for this. I can tell you that Rashford will be very keen on a move to Barcelona. He wants to move to Spain, and he believes it would be the perfect destination. So let's see what happens there. Another name is Luis Diaz, but in this case is very expensive. I can tell you that my understanding is that Liverpool will not accept the reported 45-50 million euros in the media in the recent weeks. They want way more than this. They are not desperate to sell Luis Diaz. He still did very well this season when they won the Premier League. So I don't think Luis Diaz is going to be an easy one. Also remember what we said yesterday, Al Nassr want to sign Luis Diaz, and they can offer eventually crazy money.
Let's see the next question from you guys. Sergio Espejo, who asks, what's the latest on Gyökeres' move to Arsenal? Is it going to happen, Fabrizio? What do you think?
He remains a candidate for Arsenal. He's one of the candidates. I will keep Gyökeres for sure still in the short list. Benjamin Sesko, let's clarify that for Sesko, they already made some direct contact. So Arsenal already spoke to the agents, Arsenal already spoke to Leipzig to discuss the potential transfer fee. So Arsenal are working on the Sesko deal. For Gyökeres, he remains one of the names they have in the list, but still nothing advanced in terms of conversations. But I keep this as an open race, because for Sesko there are more clubs. On Gyökeres also there is interest from several clubs. We know he's available for something around 65-70 million euros this summer. I think we have to be quite patient with this one, but Arsenal are working on a new striker, and for sure they will sign a striker, a winger, and more. I think Arsenal will be very busy.
And Fabrizio, in a scenario where Arsenal can afford any of these two strikers, who of them would be like the plan A and the plan B?
Look, in terms of decision of the club, at the moment the only one for which they are negotiating is Benjamin Sesko. So they are negotiating for Sesko in this moment, discussing club to club with Leipzig and with the agents. Then, I'm not saying that Gyökeres is a plan B. I think they have different skills, so they are discussing with both sides, but in the case of Sesko, it's more advanced negotiation at the moment. But it's not a done deal, not even with the player or with the club. So we have to be careful, because Arsenal are keeping both doors open after what happened in January when they wanted a striker, but they were not able to find the right solution. So better to keep both options open and then decide at the right moment.
The third question involves a striker and also a London club. Paul Page asks, is Chelsea interested in Ekitike?
They are. Hugo Ekitike did very well this season at Eintracht. And this is why here we have the problem for Chelsea, and it's the price tag. Because when Chelsea had a direct contact with Eintracht, there was, from what I'm hearing, a club-to-club contact in the last 48 hours between Chelsea and Eintracht. The answer from Eintracht was 100 million euros.
Wow.
So, Chelsea just spent 30 million pounds on Liam Delap. They are investing on several players. So I'm not sure this is going to be an easy one. Or the price drops, or they find a solution, maybe to include some player in the deal, or could be complicated to reach an agreement for Ekitike. But they really like the player, they really rate Ekitike, they believe it could be a perfect addition to the squad. And so I think this story remains open. Chelsea are still around, still interested in the player, waiting to understand what happens in terms of price, valuation from Eintracht Frankfurt.
Let me thank you guys for the questions that we've received in the recent hours. And now it's time to drop some transfer bombs, Fabrizio, because we have a recent interest that is going higher and higher in the recent hours. And still, we're talking about Franco Mastantuono.
We are, because yesterday we were here on DAZN Transfer and we told our friends how Real Madrid were calling to understand the situation for Franco Mastantuono. So Paris Saint-Germain leading the race, but Real Madrid calling, trying to understand the situation. What we can say today is that Real Madrid have officially entered the race and entered the scene for Franco Mastantuono, this fantastic left-footed talent midfielder from River Plate. Today, Real Madrid are on a mission in Argentina with Juni Calafat directly working, the director on this deal, for Franco Mastantuono, speaking to the agents of the player, speaking to River Plate, trying to understand the structure of the release clause. What I can tell you tonight is how the release clause works. Is, from what I understand, $45 million, but also extra $10 million in taxes. Then there is a percentage to the player. So it's not that easy release clause. This is why first Paris Saint-Germain for weeks and they remain in the race. And then Real Madrid are trying to find a solution with the player but also with River Plate. Instead of paying the release clause, try to restructure the deal. Basically what Manchester City did for Julian Alvarez with River Plate in the past and also for Echeverri. They like to do this sort of deals. So this is what Real Madrid and PSG are trying to do. PSG have been working on this one for 2-3 weeks but never signing anything. And now Real Madrid are on scene for Franco Mastantuono. I think this is why they are still not closing for the return of Nico Paz, because they want to understand what happens with Franco Mastantuono and then decide also on Nico, because they have a 8 million euros buyback clause.
Fabrizio, and lastly, to wrap this up, what is going on at Botafogo? Because you have some breaking news about the Brazilian side.
Yeah, good news for our friends from Brazil, for Botafogo. Really ambitious in these days for this Club World Cup, and especially in the latest hours, because they almost closed the deal for Tucu Correa, the Argentinian striker who is leaving Inter on a free transfer. And so Botafogo are quite confident to close this deal officially in the next hours, but the verbal agreement is done for Correa to be a new Botafogo player. And I think we will have a here we go also for a massive signing in terms of number 9. Of course, Correa can play behind the striker or as a winger when required, but as number 9 they want Artur Cabral from Benfica. 15 million euros official bid has been sent tonight by Botafogo, so they're really pushing for this one. And so Correa, Artur Cabral, I think Botafogo want to do something nice for the Club World Cup.
I think there were plenty of news, Fabrizio.
As always.
More than enough.
As always, Nacho. No, thank you for all your support,
thank you,
questions.
Fabrizio.
And as always, we will see you tomorrow here on DAZN Transfer with all the latest and for the whole week. So get ready, and here we go. Ciao.